This version of this bob, call it the Dutch bob. It's inspired by the way Van Gogh created lines without ever putting a line down on the canvas. I'm gonna wet everything because hair gets soft when it's wet, and then you bring it back to its original state, and then as it dries up in that shape, the hair gets hard again. Since the bob is so short, it'll go within the hairline, so I'm first gonna trim the back of her head up. So I'm gonna section it off just about on the middle of the occipital bone. First, I'll quickly clip off what I call excess so I get a bit more view. Since I'm gonna go shorter than this anyway, I'm just gonna cut it to about 1 inch or 1/2 inch. Already the neck is revealed, which already becomes prettier. I start not too close to the skin because I wanna see and feel it out a little bit, how someone's hairline and neckline works best. That's the same approach in a way with products. I always start with a little to find out if I need more. Now as I go shorter, I discovered that in this case it looks prettier, so I just go a little further in. There's about 1/2 inch of length in a way, and to me that looks sort of nice and soft as opposed to it all completely shaved off. I don't really ever like a straight line. I always try to blend the natural necklines and cowlicks. I use a comb with nice round tips, not so sharp so I don't scratch her up. Cool. First step down. So I take a big section now because I like to just almost cut the rest as if I'm a kid. So we set to right under the ear, so I want to angle it down a little bit. I never want to angle it up. The back has always got to be a bit high. That's why I started on the occipital bone. I go from the occipital bone to right to the bottom of the ear. It's almost like I'm trying not to cut it properly. See, I don't mind all the uneven and wrong bits because they make this same bob look more interesting. Like if everything is the same and perfect and this bit is the same length as that bit, we end up with the same haircut. So in the end, the idea is in a way not to do that as much. It's okay if there are wonky bits, they make it cool. Here you can see the shape developing. So this is my first guiding section, but this long bit here, for example, that doesn't connect, I like that. These little flips that are going the wrong way are what make this interesting. See, it might still be a little long, but I'd rather do that because also the hair will jump up because a lot of weight is coming off. I just kind of rough cut it towards the length where about I want it. Going with the movement and with the texture rather than against it. So this is my first section, in a way, established. You can already see that there's a slight angle downwards to the front. We're right under the ear. You see the ear's right there. Even though it is 1/2 inch longer, when the weight pops up, it looks short enough. This first layer, you saw me basically cut an impressionistic straight angled line with shark teeth. In the end, you get the impression once the hair moves together that there is a line as opposed to shark teeth. Now this second layer, I'm not going to really cut it with shark teeth, but I'm just going to twist these pieces and start above the line by cutting into it a bit with minimum pressure on the scissor and then finishing them slightly longer than the line. And bit by bit, I will create texture and bits that flick out, that slightly dangle over the length so it becomes a bit of an unruly bob. So everything is done really with gentleness. I want this haircut in the end to look a bit gentle and slept in. There's bits that are longer now, but they're kind of cool. Everything behind the ear, or that is within the hairline now, I'm going to try and blend it to this line, just like I did here, with bits that come over, bits that are shorter. So even though it looks almost like I'm shaving, I prefer my scissor for this sort of haircut because with a razor, I feel like I go through the hair too fast and it gets too thin. I don't really see the length with my scissor. If I twist a piece, I know that there I'm cutting, there I'm cutting, there I'm cutting, where I decide where I want it to be somewhat razored out. When I play with these pieces to kind of match them, I also like to pull them back a little bit because then when I cut them here, when they fall forward, they end up being longer because everything has to be down angled. These top layers, I actually carve into them to make these textures and bits that are becoming unruly. Because she has soft hair and it tends to lay a bit together, so I'm actually opening it up. I wanted this section of her bangs. We don't want to start too wide because we can always go wider. I'm going to just section this off as my bang. I want the hair to end up right next to her eyes. I want it to be slightly above the eyebrows. So I'm going to start somewhere here and do this almost badly cut bang. Yeah, like a kid cut her own bang. See now, because I have this layer, if this jumps up too short, because on a face or on an eyebrow, 1 millimeter is a lot. So this part you have to do gently, and as you can see, I don't put tension because I know that this is actually jumping up rounder because all the length, the weight of the hair comes off, so the hair will raise itself because it's less heavy. I want this bang to be very, very playful and cute. Frame her just right. So here I'm just putting a little Restore Leave-In repair cream in the hair. So this is kind of texture but still soft and conditioned looking. It's also very cute behind the ear. And just like letting her hair dry a little like that will give it this nice little curve as well. So then when they come out, it'll have this wonky little curl on the side. This is without any real texture. This is with a conditioner. So everything is still a bit softer. As we would start putting in instant texture mist, you can make this wilder and grungier. That's how you create a slightly new feeling in the same thing. I try to use different scissors, different combs, try to curl hair with no iron, or try to find other ways of driving my car to Rome, so to speak. I think it's important that our hair looks modern and new, and if you cut a classic like a bob, it's still about capturing the individualities of the people and their hair.